In here rigging up these new Tanglefree decoys I got. If you didn't check out that review video, go back and watch them. These are the foam-filled, Tanglefree, flocked head, flocked tail mallards, and they look good. I actually ran them this morning for the first time in a jerk string, and they looked really good out there. These foam-filled are a little bit heavy to be running on the jerk string, so I don't know if I'll keep doing that. But I didn't have them rigged up yet, so I'm about to rig them, and that's what's prompting this video, is we run H-weights. And these are very unique to some people that have grown up using these traditional strap weights. These are the ones that they sell dime a dozen. This is what you're going to see if you look on the shelf for the most part. But we have always preferred the H-weights, and I'm going to tell you why. And I also want you guys to drop in the comments and let me know what type of weights you prefer. H-weights, these strap weights. Some people use these egg sinker style like you see on the Texas rigs. And people also use these what I call J-hook weights. These H-weights, they wind all the way up with a string on them, and you loop it over the ear here and pull it tight. So when it's in the bag, flopping all around, it's not going to come loose. It's not going to come off. It's going to be very secure in the bag. And if you're in a hurry, like I often am, and you get to a spot where you're ready to put out decoys, if you're in a heavy chop, if you're really in a rough situation, if you're in a hurry, all you have to do is just slide that little dog ear off and drop the decoy. And this is naturally going to fall. And that decoy is going to sit exactly where you drop it. This weight is going to fall straight down. And I really like that because you know wherever you drop this weight, that's where the decoy is going to sit. It's not like these traditional strap weights where the string wraps around the keel, and you're sitting out here unwinding that whole thing trying to guess what your depth is. And even when you unwind enough, you could have a little bit of slack in it, and that decoy is going to really move in a radius, and it could cause it to tangle up with other decoys. So I really don't like the strap weights because of how much you have to unwind it initially and when you pick them back up, and it's not self-depth adjusting. Whereas these H-weights, it's going to fall until it hits bottom, and it's going to hold perfectly right there. And if for some reason a chop and a wave comes, it's just going to pick the weight up slightly, and it's going to unravel again and sit back down, and it's not going to move and shift around. So for throwing out decoys and getting the perfect rig, the perfect spread, I really like these H-weights because that decoy is going to sit exactly where you want it. So for some of you folks that hunt really shallow water, you say, well, I don't need that much string. When I go to pick it up, it's going to keep unraveling and really be a pain. Well, there's what's called short stopping these things. So if you know you're going to be hunting shallow water a lot, you just pull the rope through, slide it over that dog ear, going to do it one-handed here, pull it back through, and then you wind it back up. And now that there's that inner loop inside of it, this thing is only going to unwind until it catches that loop you just created. So when it comes time to pick them up, you simply just wind them back up real quick. And you know next time you go out there and drop it, only going to drop to where you short stopped it, which is about 2 feet in this circumstance. So if you know your water depth, go ahead and short stop your decoys because it also makes it a lot quicker to pick these things up if you've short stopped that weight. I'd highly recommend if you don't know the water depth or some areas are deeper channels or some areas are shallower, don't short stop it because these will dangle in the water and the decoy will float off. If you've got this short stopped in the water, it does end up being deeper than you anticipated. And to me, these J-hooks are in the same category as these strap weights here. You have to unwind the whole decoy line off the keel and then drop this thing down, and it's still going to have that circular pattern it's going to float all around in because you don't know your exact depth. And of course, you got to hook it onto the keel somewhere. And these Tanglefrees don't actually have a great place if you wanted to just unwind half of the string because the water was shallow. This actually didn't have a great place. You have to run it through there, make a quick loop to short stop it. And again, you'd have to wind this all back up when you're done and unwind it all again the next time. So I really don't care for these J-hook style and these strap weights. It's just not my thing. We've had a lot of luck getting great decoy placement and decoy holding with these H-weights. And a lot of folks love the Texas rigs. I've got some game winner decoys, these teal here, on these Texas rig style. These were bought for a particular place where I knew it was going to be shallow every time I hunted it. So I went ahead and put these on Texas rigs. But in general, I don't care for these Texas rigs because a lot of the places I hunt will have a deeper channel that these don't work in. Or if I get on the river or the lake, it's certainly going to be too deep. And a lot of the places I hunt have water level fluctuation, so it can be really hard to guess if that water is going to be just deep enough or if it's going to be too deep for these guys. So in general, do not care for the Texas rigs. They are nice for keeping them stored on the hook, carrying them in, dragging them in. They are nice for transport, but for a lot of the places I hunt, it just doesn't work for me. These I'm only putting about 12 foot of line on because that's the absolute max depth we've been hunting the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But once upon a time, these are actually some older ones, we hunted a lake that had 20 foot plus water depths. And you cannot beat these H weights when you're hunting in 20 foot of water. You can put plenty of line on here. It winds up really tight. Drop it right where you want it without having to worry about your decoys floating off. So I'm not going to unrig these 20, 25 footer line decoys, but I am going to only put about 12 feet on these because we're simply not hunting those deep lakes anymore. So naturally, the next question you're going to ask is, where do you get these? You can buy these. I've actually seen them on eBay and Etsy and places like that. I have not seen these commercially produced. If they make them, drop a comment, tell me where. But we actually made all these ourselves out of an oak jig, took a router, traced it out, melted down all the lead, poured them into the molds, and made all our own H weights. And I was completely out, so my buddy Brandon hooked me up with these 6 for these guys that he wasn't using. But these are homemade, custom made. You can make them yourself. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be pretty. They just have to work. I was mentioning a second ago, the new Tanglefree foam-filled flock mallards are a lot heavier than these older Avian X, so I did not like pulling those on that jerk string this morning. It was just a lot of weight, you could tell. So I think I am going to use these Avian X mallards that I was going to abandon and put these on the jerk string. So I'm just going to put a Texas rig clip through the top of that keel there and then be able to clip the jerk string right into the end of that swivel. They're a lot quieter when they hit the water, so they don't make that loud echo that those greenhead gear wood ducks do. So I'm gonna get these rigged up for the jerk string. The jerk string will run 3 decoys. These Avian X should be perfect. So I've got the oversized snap swivels on these Avian X. All I gotta do when I'm in the field, I got the jerk string out. If you don't have a jerk string, get one. All I have to do is come in here and hook that guy through that swivel, and we're ready to go. So I'll have both of these ready in the back with these clips already set up. I won't have to fight that small part of the keel there. These can just live on there. And this is going to add that very realistic motion to that decoy spread that everybody needs to have, making it quick, simple. 2 nice strong swivels connecting together should work just fine. Just sharing with you guys how I rig decoys, my preferred weights. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys run, why you run it. None of it's perfect, none of it's wrong, none of it's right. It's just what we prefer, and it's all set up for the different places we hunt because we all hunt in very different environments. Really appreciate you guys watching. As always, I'm very humbled by the feedback, the comments, the support, all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. But until next time, God bless. Take care. Tucker, can you tell them bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.